I'm really pleased to have a few minutes today with the mayor of Ingersoll, Mr. Ted Comiskey. And Ted, thank you very much for joining us today. I thought it would be a good opportunity to get an update on a few things that are going on in Ingersoll. Thank you.
Certainly, and I'm excited to do it, and I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And I think probably a good starting place because it's that time of year when councils across Ontario are working on their budgets and have been for a few months now. And I'm just wondering, how's the development of this year's budget coming along?
Oh, very good, very good. It's a very impressive budget. We have a phenomenal treasurer, Irina Cavell, and she is very smart and very accurate and really keeps us in line as far as any of our spending goes and where we're going, and keeping us on track on where we are with our debt or where we are with our projected capital, or et cetera, and moving along. Yes, you're right. This is the time of year for budgets. Of course, I'm on the Board of Health. I'm on the Police Services Board. I'm on the county. All of them, Town of Ingersoll, all of us have budgets coming out, and this is the time when it's all comes together. And it's very interesting, and I enjoy it immensely. I used to do a lot of accounting and bookkeeping in my younger career, and I really do enjoy looking at the numbers and trying to make them work. This year in Ingersoll, it is likely one of the most interesting budgets you'll come across in a long time. And I'll expand on that by saying it's very tough this year to say where we are in relationship to last year. And you say, why is that? Well, we've had a few things that have really come across that have kind of changed the pathway. We did a phenomenal boundary adjustment last year. So that boundary adjustment, when it becomes effective as with the January 1st, and how it's going to affect our tax levy on how the dollars are coming in. And then also we have commitments to Southwest Oxford where our boundary adjustment brought in land from. So we have commitments to them as far as dollars go. So when we look at last year's budget and we look at this year's budget, there may be a $7 million difference, and you say, whoa, how's that playing out? How are we doing this? Well, there are numerous things. Like I said, this year will be a funny budget to be able to present because it doesn't relate to last year's. We also sold our planning and everything set to sell our industrial land, which is of about $6.5 million. So that actually comes in. So that's going to come into our reserves, and that's going to play a difference between last year's and this year's. Like I said, we have a larger tax levy base now because of the number of farms and homes that are coming into the town, and also the other half of the Cami plant that's coming in. So we see a large amount of income coming in, but it also is offset by a large amount of expenses with the fact that we must support Southwest Oxford through their boundary adjustment program for us to compensate them for the lands that are coming in. So it's rather interesting, but bottom line, and it comes down to it, we're actually lower than we were last year. When it comes down to it, likely each individual household will likely receive, still MPAC considers the homes in Ingersoll still at about $250,000, $260,000, which is okay because that's how everything is based. So we're still into that world, and until they change the world, we still look at that the average home sale is $260 or value, and so we were looking at $18 likely less per household than we did last year, and it's not a large amount, but it certainly is a conscious amount. Understanding that we have not reduced our services whatsoever. All our services are still up to par. We have reduced our debt phenomenally, and we have also added to our reserves. So it is a very successful budget, a good one for the town of Ingersoll and the people of Ingersoll. We're staying on top of it. We come from a background of 10 so years ago when we didn't have any reserves at all, and we were borrowing everything we possibly could to make things work. And this council, along with the last two or three, have really looked at the idea that you can't live that way and you can't work that way. You have to have the dollars to be able to receive federal funding and provincial funding for infrastructure, et cetera. You have to have those reserves available to you. And that's where we bit the bullet way back when. Like I said, about 10 years ago, we upped our taxes phenomenally. And since then, we have likely been below average as far as increases go in the municipalities around. And for the last couple of years, it has pretty well been zero or a little less for the average home. As far as county goes, do you have questions there, Mike?
I was just going to ask, developing Ingersoll's budget is certainly involved with understanding what's happening at the county level. How are their budget deliberations moving forward at that
Actually,
level?
they've moved forward phenomenally. We've kind of passed it in principle and everything else. This is about a 60. It would actually be a little bit of an increase, likely be about $22 increase across the board for the county on the county levy itself. And that's due to the cost of living that's happening right now with the county. Woodingford Lodge needs a phenomenal amount of support for our nursing homes and the community paramedic program and our housing strategy. So we put a lot of dollars into those units, which has actually brought our levy up higher than what it would have normally if we didn't take on those programs. So it looks like that we will be having certainly an increase, likely about 2.7 in that area. That's what it looks like. And like I said, that was after development and everything else onto there. We'll be likely looking at a $22 increase per household.
Gotcha.
So that's how that will play out. Education at this point in time, I believe the ministry has said everything's going to be stable. So I don't think we see an increase in the education. Like I said, with our amount of dollars coming lower than what they were last year, and the county being up a little bit, really there's going to be few dollars difference to the homeowners levy this year.
So thinking of all that effort and that's going in right now, and these deliberations will take place over the next month or so. Do you expect by March we should have finalized budget in Ingersoll?
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly. You'll likely have finalized. Well, you see, that's just it. We can say what our levy is, and then the county, it should be solidifying and passing everything in February. So I believe that everything should be settled in March as far as the numbers coming out province-wise too, so that all can lay in. I don't think we're going to have much of a difference with the ratios this year, so that shouldn't play an effect. And just expanding on that, just the understanding, you have let's say $1 of tax. Well, how much of that comes out of industry? How much of it comes out of commercial? How much of it comes out of farming? How much of it comes out of residential? All these different forestry, all these different ones have certain percentages that are allotted to it. But I don't believe to see any change in those this year as such. So that shouldn't really affect the end result. So yes, solidifying a budget should for everyone should be complete in March.
We know, I heard it just the other day, that we're now 2 years into this pandemic, and certainly the Omicron virus made a real mess of the province yet again. And I'm sure this has put a fair bit of pressure on the town and staff functions, and made it very difficult. How has this impacted people working for the town?
Well, we've had some layoffs because especially in the rec department, we've had to cut back a little bit, and we've tried to move people around and have people match. But right now we're trying to balance things out to where we can use people over here that they're shy. And now with the virus doing what it's doing, is taking people out left and right, we're being able then to move staff around. We're even in support with the county itself with supporting the county with labor where they can use it and where we can spare it to be able to help them out because they're suffering the same situation with shortages of staff. We've been out of town hall now for, gosh, it's been too long. We were kind of having half staff in, half staff out, back and forth for a while. Now this wave coming through, everybody's working from home. It has certainly has slowed things down a little bit, but we have a fantastic building department right now with some terrific people in there, and they're staying on top of things as best they can. I haven't heard complaints at all of timing wise. They're working very hard, whether it's through home or still doing inspections, trying to keep things rolling. And that's what Michael Graves, our CAO, terrific man, he has really been on top of this, making sure that our services are limited to the least. You know what I mean? As far as Hanford goes, we've done our best to make sure that things happen, and he's completed that mission so far, and it looks like, you know, as things go on right now, hopefully we'll be out of this. Things are starting to improve, but we both know that's happened before. I'm not saying there's another wave. I haven't heard of another wave, but I'll tell you, if somebody said, "Jeepers, it could be another wave," it wouldn't surprise me. But no, things are actually starting to level out, starting to plateau as far as the numbers go with the virus. So hopefully it'll start to come down as fast as it went up. And all I can say is to those, from what I believe in, what our council believes in, is please get vaccinated and get your boosters. That's something that is very, very important. Something I just want to say, if I can, on the virus that people may not be aware of. They may have had their vaccinations a while ago. Understand that the lifespan of a vaccination diminishes over time. So in fact, that if you've had it for over a year or whatnot, you need the booster to get you back up. The booster is actually about 50% of the original vaccine. And so this booster would bring you back up and bring your resistance back up to where it should be, even after you've had double vax. So please, I encourage everybody to get that booster. If you haven't been vaccinated, please help community out by getting vaccinated and certainly getting your booster.
Well, we certainly hope that things start to get back to normal rather quickly. I have a personal need from the town. I need a new dog license, and and that's weighing heavily on my mind right now. You know, I need to get in and get that dog license. So we're all hoping that we can see the right direction on this this current wave of the Omicron virus. And I think for the large part, people are being understanding when it comes to things like, well, we know the garbage pickup has been really difficult, not only because of the weather, but because of staff difficulties, and people might get pickup on Monday, it
Right.
may not get picked up till Wednesday. And the same with street cleaning, that, you know, you've got people who are under pressure because, this virus is impacting everybody. So I think the patience that we're seeing is a good sign from the people of Ingersoll.
Well, I think so. The folks of Ingersoll are fantastic. You know, I've always considered Ingersoll the hub of the earth, and it's because of the heart and soul and the volunteerism and the community spirit that each of our citizens have. And I think that's one of the big things I want to say, and I feel bad about, and that is that this is hit right across the board. We can comment on how the town is doing as far as its employment goes, or et cetera, programs because of COVID, but I feel bad for waitresses, and I'm using them as an example because their source of living is really being cut into in all areas, and all those service suppliers of merchants in town that have staff that are either laid off or temporarily at home, and it's that effect it has on the community. But the support that the community is given, our downtown area is superb, and I ask to continue on and support the stores and make things happen, because they'll be back, and they'll be back strong, but they can only do that if they have your support today.
I think that's one of the really nice things that I've seen on social media is the support and positive reviews that people are sharing about various restaurants and various stores and places that they're doing business with. And that's such a, not only a kind thing to do, but it really does help build community spirit. And, I'm very impressed with what I see.
Oh, it's a good town.
It really is. It really is. Now, are you hearing similar things from other mayors around Ontario? I know you've been in conversation through Rural Ontario Association this week, Roma, and you're probably hearing similar stories everywhere.
Well, that's just it. This virus has been fair to everybody. It hasn't shown any respect for any one community more than the other. They're all saying the same thing, that they're doing their best to try to stay on top of things. Everybody, certainly in the north, because of the tourism, is hoping so much that things get back rolling, because that's their big time. Even now with skidooing and ice fishing and different things, there are having some effects, certainly, and they just want things to get back to normal.
Yeah.
And we just hope for the best for everyone. I have to say that all the communities are thankful for their people within their hometowns and cities, because they are staying at home. They are trying to do their best to keep the COVID down, and they are recognizing that the merchants in their local area need support and help, and that's where they're getting their meals, and that's where they're getting things delivered from. So it's good.
Well, I know my wife is very happy about this. She's been hoping to social distance from me for ages.
It's worked.
Now, one of the things
I had a friend of mine that got COVID, and believe it or not, he moved to the basement and he got through it all, and his wife and daughter never did get it. So there's distancing for you. There's putting your thumb down, saying that's where you're staying for the next 2 weeks.
That's the right way to do it. A couple of weeks back, more than that, maybe 2 or 3 weeks back, I saw on social media somebody saying that we should not lose our attention on the stop the dump issue. Tell me, is the dump a finished deal? Like, is this gone?
It's dead. If you actually look in Municipal World, it just came out. I think it is for February. Municipal World. There is an article there, and it reads how a small town won against the big organization, and it's a nice tale about how it started and how it finished. I want everyone to know that I just got off a meeting with the Minister Passini yesterday, Minister of Environment, who, as such, did mention that we have no intention of changing legislation to how it was sent to us a couple of years ago. And that is that every municipality in Ontario has the right to say yes or no to landfills in their municipality or within 3.5 kilometers. And there is no chance of that changing in the near future. Certainly, I know, legislation on anything can be changed. That's why we have government, to be able to do that and to understand it. There is no plan whatsoever on changing this legislation, which means that we have and will always have the right at this point in time to say yes or no to a landfill within 3.5 kilometers. The Walker Environmental has talked to me personally and said that they have no intentions at this point in time of continuing on. And you always say at this point in time, that's how they word it. But they don't have a site. Carmoose has said that they have no intentions of putting a landfill on site. So that has kind of taken away their sight, and certainly legislation has taken away their right to be able to just have them and the ministry decide rather than the municipality. So to those out there and to those on Facebook or wanting to know information on it, feel free to call me anytime and talk with me. I'd be more than willing, but the landfill is stopped. The landfill is not going forward, and signs can come down because there is no need for it. To be able to be pushing forward in any way, shape, or form. Ministry's not interested in it. Walker's not interested in it. Carmoose is not interested in it. And certainly the town of Ingersoll is not interested in it, nor is Zora or Southwest Oxford. So it is done.
Ending on a positive note on our conversation for today, we'll be watching the Canadian women's national hockey team, won't we? I think there'll be some local interest.
Oh, I mean, young Shelton, it's going to be so exciting to you know what I mean, to have this. They're great people, great family. She's a great athlete and representing not only Ingersoll, Southwest Oxford, and the County of Oxford and Canada, representing Canada on our hockey team. I mean, this is just terrific. It's exciting. We wish her all the best. It's exciting for her. It's exciting for us. And God bless her. And I hope they're successful. And I'll tell you, she's already successful in our eyes. And so we just wish her the best. What a great feeling to have the Winter Olympics and having someone from your own communities kind of being part of it. And that's great. Shelton family is a great family, and it's no doubt they support their family immensely and support the community. Good group.
We'll be watching with great interest, won't we?
We certainly will.
Well, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for joining me today. It's good to have this chat, and I'm hoping that maybe in a month's time we can chat about whatever's going on in the town and catch up with some of the things that are of concern or interest within the council, and share it with the people of Ingersoll. But we thank you very much for the time today.
You're more than welcome. And Mike, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And anytime, and I'll say it out to the folks, if anyone at any point in time needs information or is concerned about their community, they all have my number. Give me a call.